So hello everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to select half faces, like part of the faces of an object, and then use duplicate special to create like the other half. So we covered the part that when you want to duplicate an object, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can use half of the object to create the other half. Like let's say here we created this shape for whatever reason. I'm not sure what it is, but let's say I want to use this half and have the other half exactly like this. Okay, so these are the faces that I want to have exactly on the other side, mirrored. Okay, so what I want to do is that basically we have learned all that we need for doing this, but here I'm going to show you how you can just put those information together and do this, right? So I know I'm not going to be using this half of these faces, so I'm just going to select them, go into my front view, select all of them, check the wireframe mode, so I'm not selecting anything extra. Just going to hit delete, and now I have this object, and let's say if it's like this, for example. I want to make some shape that might be like harder to do, so I can cover all the topics that all the problems that you might encounter while doing this. Okay, let's say these are the faces that I want to duplicate. Okay, I created some interesting shape in the middle, so we know, so I can show you how to match the vertices at the center. Okay, so when I look at this object, I can see that, okay, first thing I need to do is that I need to match the vertices that are here to be exactly at this line, because I know when I use duplicate special, then these faces are going to go inside each other if they're beyond this line, right? I need to match vertices here because later I want to just merge them and make this object as one. Okay, so first let's just put the pivot point in here. Just gonna hit D to go to pivot point mode, and then V, then oopsie, I don't want to rotate you. Let's just use our locator method again. I'm just going to create a locator. It's at the center of the project. So if your object is up there, you can do the same method. Like it doesn't matter if it's here or up there, but you can create a locator and put it up here. Let's just move it up there, just for the sake of being not at the center, and make everything as hard as we can. Okay. So this is the line that I know I want to mirror this object based off of. Okay. So the next thing to do would be to change the pivot point for this object to this locator. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to hold down D to go to pivot mode, and then V for snap, and then I'm just gonna come here. Don't rotate. Okay, I think the orthographic view is not a good view for making, changing the pivot point. I'm just going to use perspective view. Okay, I'm going to hold down D and then V, and then I'm going to snap this, make sure it's exactly at the center of the locator, right? I can see that it is exactly at the center of the locator, right? So that's good. That's a good start. Now I can just put this locator in a display layer, and just say LR for layer, and then locator. Save is invalid. Okay, I shouldn't use like dashes. Okay, LR, L capital R, and then locator. How about that, Maya? How do you like that? Okay, it likes it. Okay, that's good. So now that this locator is a display layer, I can just hide the visibility for that. Okay, so now I took the first step. I put the pivot point at the center where I wanted this object to be mirrored upon. But look what happens if I do duplicate a special now. Okay, I'm going to go to the duplicate a special option, reset my setting. You can do the same thing because other people might use Maya on your machine and they might change the setting. Okay, start with edit, reset setting. Okay, so now I want to put a scale -1 and do apply. Okay, as you can see here, you can go in and match, you know, combine and match these points, but it gets tricky if you have like a complicated shape, or if these faces are going inside each other, it's going to be hard to match. So what we do is that we're going to put the vertices on our line exactly at the center line of this two objects, which is here, right? We're going to match those vertices here, then we're going to do duplicate a special. Okay, so I'm just going to close this and delete this. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to vertex mode and select all the vertices that are supposed to be matching to this line, right? The method that we learned, like scaling for creating a line, that would be a good fit for here. So I can go to scale mode and use this arrow to push everything to be straight, right? These were lines of vertices that I selected, and I can check here that everything is now on a straight line. I can look at it on the top view and on the front, on the side. It's not going to be clear, but you can see that it's a straight line. All the vertices are on a straight line, right? So now it would be easier to match them. Now that I have all of them selected, I'm going to go into my front view because I want to, and make sure that the grid is turned on. This is grid, right? And I'm gonna turn on this snap to grid, right? And I'm gonna push everything, not that grid line, this grid line. Okay, so I'm just clicking and dragging, and I release it as I see that it is snapped to this line. Yeah. Okay, if it goes crazy and snaps to different thing, just grab it back and say, okay, come here. Oh, I shouldn't have took it from the middle one, because now you can see it's going up. Never mind. So just grab this arrow that is in this direction, okay? So now these vertices are exactly at the center. Okay, so now I know if I duplicate this half of object, the vertices that are going to be creating, created, they're going to, you know, be placed exactly on top of these ones, right? So make sure you turn off this snap to grid thing, because then everything is going to be snapping to grid, and we don't want that, right? So go back. Okay, I hit B on my keyboard, and now I have soft selection mode. Hit B again to get out of it. So now my object is ready. Just for the sake of being clean and prevent Maya from crashing, just gonna delete history here. So my object is ready. How do I know? The pivot point is exactly at the center of the, you know, the object as a whole. When I want to duplicate it, it's right at the middle, this middle line here, and all the vertices are exactly at the center line, lined up in the center line. Okay, so now I can go ahead and use duplicate a special. I'm going to go to edit, duplicate a special options. Again, make sure reset the setting and put a scale -1, and I'm scaling in -1 for the x axis, because my object, as you can see here, is in the, you know, lying in the x axis, right? So I'm gonna just put -1 here and say apply. Okay, voila, I have the other half. But don't get too excited, we're not done yet. These are still two separate objects, right? But the rest of the work is going to be easy because we thought ahead and we matched the vertices at the center. So all you need to do now is select both these objects and go to mesh and combine. again, don't get too excited, because although it seems like everything is connected, it is not. They're just two vertices that are exactly at top of each other, right? If I hit 3 on my keyboard, well, it doesn't show it to me, but if I go to vertex and move this, you can see there's a hole, right? Because these two vertices were just placed right on top of each other. I'm gonna hit Control-Z to go back. Now what you can do here is you can go in and Marquee select, drag select. It's the same thing, right? Marquee select all the vertices that are on this line, and do Shift right click and merge them. Okay, not merge to center, merge vertices. Okay, and you can go to this option and make sure reset setting and set it to be, instead of 0.01, set it to 0.001, or maybe not. Okay, use the default setting. Change my mind. For this one, use the default setting. Okay, and say apply. So now if I go in and move this, it is merged. So what I did was that I matched the vertices so they're right on top of each other, and then I used merged vertices to combine these two shapes as one. And if the pivot point is where you don't like it, you know how to change that, right? You hold down D, you place the pivot point where you want, or you can always go modify and center pivot, which is exactly here. Okay, never mind. So that's that. And again, delete history. Okay.